This
previously I
conference
was
will now be recorded.
okay. So I started my career as a Python developer in a startup, and then I joined as a ServiceNow developer. And as a ServiceNow developer, I've been into 3.5 years. So yeah, that's pretty much about me. And I've been mostly implementing service portals and integrations from scratch. So yeah, so just to get an overview, to get the audience, like how everyone is like if is any everyone accustomed with ServiceNow and what all modules you have been working with. Can I get a brief introduction on that?
So yeah, so myself Fanindra. So right now, like I'm currently working as a developer, and so far I've worked for almost like only on the ITSM modules like incident problem and change, and most of the projects I worked on catalog items like service catalogs and like some kind of business catalogs and all. And apart from this, I worked on one integration which is for the REST integration. It's a third-party tool called Vortilla, and that's all base experience I have with ServiceNow modules.
Okay, so you've used Virtualize with SOAP integration, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And okay, it was nice to hear from you, Fanindra. And anybody wants to go next?
Hey, hi, Shavik. This is Kirtan here. I'm working with Brennan IT, and we are the MSP in Australia. And I've been working on ServiceNow for catalog items, like basic catalog items, as well as your med server integration with Office 365 and AD.
Okay, that's good. Next. So
Hi,
briefly,
Souvik.
everyone. Yeah. Go continue. Yeah,
Yeah,
go
this
ahead.
is Kamlesh. Yeah, so just to introduce is like I have worked on development part with ITSM. That is what Panindra told. Incident, problem, change, and a few of the catalog items. And interested to work on integration. Having a basic knowledge of scripted REST API, not something with SOAP, but yeah, a bit of scripted REST API I have worked on, and some of the out of the box REST API Explorer I have gone through. That's it.
Okay. So I'm assuming that so we have a big crowd, so I cannot ask everybody to give the interaction. So just to sum it up, that everybody is accustomed with how development in ServiceNow works and how integrations are. So am I right? Mm,
Yeah, so we go ahead.
yeah. So can anybody just tell me what integration is? Like, what is the main purpose? Why we integrate ServiceNow to third-party systems? Can anybody give me a brief about it?
If I would like to start is like exchanging data between two systems.
Okay, and why is that necessary?
Why is that necessary? That means I didn't understood your question.
So you say that it's just the exchange of data, right? So why do we exchange the data? Like, what is the main purpose behind that?
Actually, sometimes we
Uh,
need
you
to
know,
send data. Actually, sometimes we need ServiceNow data to some other server or some other system, or sometimes we need some data from the external server. So then the integration picture comes.
Okay, so like what is integration is, so suppose we have ServiceNow, right? ServiceNow is a platform that is cloud-based. Suppose we want to have an integration with, suppose as Fernando says, that is Vertela, right? So Vertela is a telephonic network platform that has some data, and we want to integrate with ServiceNow with that. So, for example, when incidents get created in ServiceNow, we want the same incident to get inserted into Vertela, so that the support system, the support personals who will be appointed by Vertela can work on that, right? So in order to do that thing, so whenever a incident comes into ServiceNow, whenever user logs an incident into ServiceNow, we have to send the same incident with or without attachments to virtual systems, right? So this phenomena, like whenever integration incident comes into picture and we have to send the entire details that the user has filled to the other system, or to get the information from the third party tool to ServiceNow, we call this as an integration. So integration can be of one unidirectional, bidirectional, and e-bonding. So can anybody just tell me what they understand by the terms unidirectional, bidirectional, and what is e-bonding?
So as for my knowledge, like I know only the bidirectional integration because we have done bidirectional integration for Watilla. So basically, they have created, I mean, as you have mentioned, the incident which carry over from the external, third party tool to ServiceNow. And once incident got created, and if it is, like resolved or in any close cancelled on the state, so we send the Watilla, like kind of, we created a kind of request on their end. So it's a kind of, I can say, I'm not sure exactly the word. It's a yeah, maybe I can say this. Mentioning that, incident got, like resolved or something like that. So
Hmm.
on that state, we'll send a, like message or notification to the third party tool Watilla saying that, it got resolved. So on that
Right.
state, we create, request on the
Right. So not only a message, what you'll be
yeah.
sending is a request body that will tell Virtula that the request or the incident got resolved in ServiceNow, and what they'll do is they'll also process the same request body and they'll close the ticket on their behalf, right? So
Yeah.
what? So yeah. So unidirectional is whenever we have to only send the data from ServiceNow to the third-party system, right? So we do not expect the ticket to be updated, is going to be updated from the third-party system to ServiceNow. Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have the bidirectional that Fernando said rightly, that whenever a ticket is getting created in Vertela, it's getting inserted into ServiceNow, and whenever it is resolved in ServiceNow, we are also sending the response, a request to the Vertela systems that the ticket got resolved. Please close it from your behalf also, right? And what is the bonding is, for example, we have an integration between two ServiceNow instances. There are multiple scenarios where customers will have multiple ServiceNow instances, and for example, they want that whenever incident is getting created in one system, the other system or the other instance of ServiceNow should also get the same ticket, right? Because mostly it comes into picture when two acquired companies, right? I'm a parent company, I've acquired a child company, and I want all the tickets that are assigned to that created in child company to be also created in a parent company, right? So in that scenario, we do e-bonding kind of integration where each and every update, suppose a watcher is added, the whoever is working on the ticket updates something on the incident, also should all get updated in the parent company's incident. So this kind of integration is called e-bonding integration, right? And also we can send attachments using integrations. So some people, I heard that they have worked on integration. So can anybody just brief me that what are the mandatory or the required things that we need to carry out an integration?
Basically, like we need before. I'm just giving my knowledge, like what when I was done on this
Yeah,
integration
yeah,
part.
just give me
So
an overview,
uh,
like what all things you know, so that I can dive deep into it. Just tell me
yeah,
on a brief, like, yeah.
Yeah, so because like there are some scenarios like for example in ServiceNow I'll take an example. We have one field called priority, but in there and they have they can field of severity. So we need to make sure to map the fields first. Uh, that is the one step I remember. One step and another thing. And we created a whistle between the two systems to get connected through the web service and
Yeah.
uh, that's also like I can remember. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no issues. Somebody wants to give a try? It seems no. Okay, fine. So, just to start with it, so what all things we need to carry out in integration? So, um, ServiceNow, as I said, is a cloud-based application, right? So we are residing on the cloud, and so whenever we are trying to connect to some third party, what we need is first the URL, right? The URL we'll be connecting to. That is the first priority that we need, because we cannot just I'm talking about a REST or SOAP based integration, right? So we have to have the URL which will be connecting to establish the integration, right? Then we need the authentication. So authentication plays a very vital role in integrations, because how the third party will come to know that the request that is coming to the system is for authentic source, right? So for example, I'm into some malicious software, and I got to know the URL, and I have the request body with with me, and I just cannot directly post into that URL, because they will have some authentication that will validate that this request is coming from a valid source, right? So first we had the URL, second is the authentication, third is what is the method of the integration. For example, we can use integration to fetch some data, right? We can use integration to create some data. We can use to integration to update some data, right? So for getting the suppose list of records from Vertela, for example, I'll be using Vertela as an example right now, because we have talked about that many times. So Vertela, to give you a brief, is a ticketing tool for telephonic company, right? So whenever we some network goes down, you raise requests for it's been a while, we are having some trouble connecting to the internet or something like that. So you raise the same kind of request in Vertela, and whenever you raise that kind of request in Vertela, it will be creating into ServiceNow, right? So that is a whenever something is getting created, it is called a post, because we are creating a request in a third-party system, right? And whenever we are fetching a list of records, there is a get. The method is get. And whenever we are updating something in the ticket that we have created, that is a patch, right? That is update, right? That can be a patch or put. So there are five types of HTTP methods we follow in integrations. One is get, one is post, one is put, one is patch, and one is delete, right? So patch and put are basically the same thing, but patch does a partial updation, and put you can update as many fields as you want, right? And delete is something we use to delete. Suppose I have created one ticket in ServiceNow, I want to delete that. So I'll be using the HTTP method called delete to delete that integration, right? And so is everything clear what I said till now, or you want me to explain something? You can ask me anything, because yeah, I'll be talking, and you can ask me anything. If you get doubt in any of the places, you can ask me.
Yes, sir. It's clear for me.
Is it clear for everyone?
Yes, Souvik.
Yeah, great. So I was talking about what are the mandatory things we need for carrying out an integration. So first is URL, second is authentication, third is the HTTP method we'll be using, right? And the Fourth thing is the data, the request data or the query parameters. So whenever we are fetching a list of records from a particular system or a third-party system, we'll be needing some query parameters. So what are these query parameters? Suppose you're querying Google, or whenever you're searching Google with some values like what is the name of the world's highest statue, right? So you're passing the string. What is the name of the world's highest statue? So how Google operates is it will search with this particular query parameter to all the websites that has that particular keyword, right? So it's the same thing that happens in ServiceNow or any kind of integration. So integrations are not only based on ServiceNow. So integration is, suppose a third-party tool is integrating with some other platform. So it's actually linking one platform to another, the exchange of data between one platform to another, right? So to do that, so I'll be passing that query parameter. So what will be this query parameter? It can be a string, it can be some value, it can be some numbers, anything. It can be anything. So suppose I'm going into ServiceNow and telling that give me all the records that are created today. So what will be the query parameter is created on is today. So that can be customized from ServiceNow end because we have scripted REST API. So we'll be going into that later, but so we have to understand that when we need to pass the query parameters and when we need to pass the body, right? So body we do not actually need to send whenever we are performing a get operation because we are fetching the data, right? In that case we'll be mostly passing the query parameters, right? And whenever we are doing a create operation, for example, I want to create one incident into some third-party application, then we'll be, as I say, that we'll be using post operations, right? So whenever we are using a post, the other party or the third-party system will be expecting that we'll be sending some JSON or some XML kind of thing or a body to them so that they can process the request and they can create that request from their side. So actually it depends on what will be the data, what will be the integration body that will be passed. It depends on the platform we are integrating with. For example, Vortilla uses SOAP. Some other third party, it may use as JSON, right? So and XML mostly operates in it's only operates in, sorry, SOAP only operates in SOAP, right? XMLs. And in REST we can pass, we can have the flexibility, like we can send a file, we can send as a JSON object, we can send as an XML. So that's REST is flexible, right? So for example, we are creating a new request in a third party application and we'll be so in that case we have to send a request body that will be a JSON or XML, right? So when we'll be sending this JSON to the third party, they will process each and every key that we are passing with the JSON and they'll be creating into their particular system, right? Is it clear?
Oh, no, Souvik. It is going a little bit faster.
Okay, so I'll be going a little bit slow. So did you understand the get operation, how it is working?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so post, how it works is, suppose from ServiceNow we are creating a ticket into some third-party application, right? So what happens is, we have the URL with us.
Souvik,
We have, yeah.
one question here is like you
Mhm,
told both the difference between REST and SOAP. So why it
mhm.
is not possible for us to send an attachment file through an SOAP?
Yeah, we'll be coming into that. So actually, what is can anybody just tell me what is the difference between the REST and a SOAP? Why we use REST and not SOAP that much? Though SOAP is way more secure than REST. Do you have
I
any
don't have
idea?
that
Like
much knowledge.
anybody on the line?
No, Souvik. Idea.
Okay, so in SOAP we have okay. So to give you a first introduction, like what is the difference between a REST and a SOAP integration is, SOAP only operates in XMLs, right? And XMLs are tree structured. If you notice the XML structure clearly, it's all tree structured. So parsing into XML is a challenge. That is the first thing we say for what is the benefits of REST over SOAP. right? So the second challenge is authentication. So authentication is also very much complex in SOAP integrations, and because we have to create the WSDLs as he said, and then we have to pass those WSDLs to consume to the third party and all those things, right? And then also attachment. The attachments are very much tricky. So whenever it comes to attachment, we have to integrations. We have to encode the attachment such a way that it appears to the third parties in an encrypted format, and it doesn't get hold to the anywhere in between, because if somebody tries to intervene an integration, they should not get hold to that attachment, right? So we always encrypt the attachment and we send, right? And so this encryption process is not supported in SOAP integrations. Okay, so that is why we use REST, and in REST there are like no limitations. We can use XMLs, we can use JSONs, and we can use files. We can send files. So it is there is no restrictions as such. We can also send text formats as in JSON in the REST API. Is it clear why we use REST mostly?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So a quick question. So,
yeah.
if you can take the bidirectional integration, can we go with the REST instead of SOAP?
Yeah, we can do. We can. That's
Okay.
why I say that integration can be carried out in either ways, either in
Okay.
SOAP or in REST, right? That's actually depends on the platform. Suppose Vertilla doesn't support REST because it's an old platform.
Yeah.
Mostly newer platforms all support REST, but suppose it's an older platform, they don't support REST. They support the XML, SOAP format. Okay, so it actually depends how the company is customizing the inbound scripted REST APIs, right? So whenever you're creating an API, you have to specify that what are the formats you're expecting, right? If it's a JSON or it's an XML, that you will be configuring from your end, right? For example, your who has worked on scripted HTTP over here in the queue, they'll be understanding that whenever we are writing a scripted HTTP in ServiceNow, we are telling the end users that these are the formats we are wanting, so that you pass me in these formats, I'll be taking these informations and storing into ServiceNow, right?
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So I was explaining the creation of a ticket from ServiceNow to a third party. So in order to do that, as I said, that we have to pass the request body, right? So for example, I'll be creating one incident from ServiceNow to suppose ServiceNow to some other ServiceNow instance only I'm passing, right? So in that case, we know that what are the parameters we need to pass. We need to pass the incident number that is getting created in our first instance, then the short description, what is the priority, what is the severity of that, and what is the description of it. And suppose if there is an attachment that the user has attached with the incident, we want to pass that as well, right? So in order to do that, we have to pass, or we have to write all these things in such a way that the other instance or ServiceNow instance gets to know that okay, all these informations are coming from a different instance, right? So that is how we pass the JSON body. So JSON is nothing but the object structure, how we will be passing all these informations that the user has sent us in the form to the third party. Is that clear? What is JSON, why we use it?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, so can anybody just explain like what is JSON and why do we use that to send informations? Am I audible? Is anyone talking? Hello? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, you're audible. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, so I actually asked for a question, so I was expecting some response actually. So my question was, why do we use JSON to send the data?
Actually, it's a very standard format to exchange the data between the servers or between the two parties.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. So that is how we are using as a that is why we use JSON mostly, because it actually operates as a key value pair. So parsing in JSON is very much easier because it operates as a key value pair. So you can just iterate through the JSON object, and you can get the value of a particular key very easily, right? So that is why it's becoming a standard to use JSON mostly. Okay, so this is how the post operation works. Is it clear to everybody how the post is working?
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. Now, moving on to a put operation. So what is put? Put is mostly an update. We use put for update. So now, for example, using post, we have created one ticket from one ServiceNow instance to some other ServiceNow instance. And in response, we have got the new ticket ID that is created in ServiceNow, the second ServiceNow instance, right? And we want to update some fields over there using a put operation. So now, how to tell that second instance that which particular ticket we want to update? For that, we have to pass the ticket number that we got from the post operation. So first we'll be doing the post operation from ServiceNow instance 1 to ServiceNow instance 2. So when we'll be doing the post operation from the instance 2, we'll get a response that, okay, whatever request you have sent me is fine, and I have created one ticket in the second instance, and this is the request number, or this is the ticket number that is created using the integration. So we have to use that particular ticket number in the put operation to update the ticket afterwards, right? So this is how the put operation works. The JSON format will be same, and you may or may not send the multiple data, the all the informations that you want. You may or may not send that. You may suppose send that only if you want to update the short description. You can only pass the short description over there, and it will be updated over there. But you have to have passed the ticket number that you want to update. Fine. And then moving on, we have the delete operation. So delete is not that much used because we do not so can anybody just explain me or tell me a rough idea why we do not give delete access to any third party while integrating? Just give a try. It will be better if we have a communicating audience so that I also
No,
get some. Yeah,
I don't have any idea.
yeah. Fine, that's fine. So e- when talking about APIs, so for example, I'm giving a third party my application access, right? So API is nothing but you're giving a third party application to read, write, or do a CURD operation. CURD is create, update, read, and delete, right? So whenever you're passing these operations to a third party, they can obviously, if they want, they can misuse it, right? We can control that operations, but they can misuse it. There's always a possibility to misuse it, right? So delete operations we do not give actually because some deleting something from the system, if you're working in ServiceNow for a while now, you'll be understanding that we do not actually delete of anything from ServiceNow. If we don't require it, we make it as active false, or we make it deprecated, but we do not delete it. It's not a good practice because of always for the records will have that record, right? So we do not delete it. So that is why or any other application doesn't give the delete operation. So they'll give if you want to delete, they'll give you a put API that you can use this put API to make it inactivate, or maybe you can deprecate it, right? So that is why we do not delete it. But for attachment, it's a different case. So whenever we are sending attachments, and suppose you want to delete that attachment from a third party, so this put operation will not help over there, because if you have to delete the attachment, you have to use a delete method. So whenever you'll be using the delete method, it will go and search for the attachment that you will be sending. Suppose we want to delete a attachment XYZ from a particular instance, then you have to hit that particular API with that attachment name that we want to delete this particular attachment, and it will be always beneficiary if we have something unique. Suppose xyz.zip can be .jpg can be multiples, right? So if we have the attachment sysID or something like that, it will be very much beneficiary, because whenever you're trying to integrate with some platform to another, it's always good to have something unique, right? So whenever an incident is getting created from one instance to another, the incident number that will be coming to you is a unique number, right? That number cannot be regenerated. So something always keep in mind that while performing integrations, we have to deal with unique things, unique keys in terms of database. So is it clear to everyone with the 5 methods?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yes.
Yeah. Any questions?
No, not now.
Um,
Uh,
from
Sovi, can you hear me?
yeah.
So the question is like we have something hub in ServiceNow. Okay, so in ServiceNow we have some in store. We already have some of the plugins, we can say, which is
Hmm.
provided by Service. So which we can use to integrate. So those plugin or spoke which are there are been created using web services, or it is something different.
Yeah, those are all. See, web service is nothing but whenever you're trying to communicate from one service to another, one platform to another, they communicate through web services. And this web service operate using these 5 methods that I explained. That is get, post, put, patch, and delete, right? So these are all web services. Now, you tell me one thing. Suppose I want to integrate ServiceNow with Slack, right? And we want to make it available for all the customers. So what will you do is, instead of creating, if suppose there are thousands of customers and they all want to integrate ServiceNow with Slack. So what, suppose being a service-based company, what I can do is I can create a plugin, right? So that no one has to create everything from scratch. I will give some customization options to the client that, okay, so if this is your Slack ID, you can pass it dynamically. And then suppose this is your ServiceNow ID, you can also customize that. So this
Sorry, you are not audible.
So we cannot. Okay.
Yeah.
hello.
No, you are
Okay.
not audible.
Hello. Does anyone has any other question?
No, it's fine.
Okay, so that's pretty much it for the introduction part. And yeah, so if nobody has any questions, we can wind it up today.
Yes, Sovi.
Yeah, thank you for attending the session.
Thank you,
Okay,
Sovi.
thank you so
Bye
much.
bye.
Yeah,
Bye
bye.
bye.
Have a great day. Yeah, bye.